Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Mother's Day. My name is Kate Smidt, and I wanted to say congratulations to all the mothers out there. And I wanted to share about my mother a little bit. My mother is a wonderful woman who has many talents, one of them being she's an excellent baker. And I would like to share her tips for making the best oatmeal raisin cookies. Okay, you ready? Okay. One is soak the raisins in hot water beforehand. Use parchment paper to make sure that the cookies bake evenly. And before you eat them, break them in half so all the calories will fall out right through the middle. Okay, so it's very good. It's very important. Welcome to the beloved community known as UU Amherst. We are so glad that each one of you is here today. If you are a newcomer, we hope you'll keep coming back and make your spiritual home with us. For those who have already made UU Amherst your home, we hope you will continue to challenge yourself to grow and to help us live out our aspirations of beloved community. Please join us after the service for coffee and conversation in the Emerson room, directly behind this space. We are a community at many ages and stages of life. We have assistive hearing devices at the usher station and childcare and activities, all at the back of the chapel. Children and youth are invited to leave following the time for all ages to have some multi-age fun and values building and return for the last song and announcements. For those gathered in the chapel, I invite you to either place your phone on airplane mode or to turn it off completely to free up bandwidth for the live stream. If you don't do it, your mother is not going to be mad, but she will be disappointed. It is our custom when we gather to light a chalice. The chalice is a cup or vessel that symbolizes the gathered community. The flame represents the spark that each one of us brings to represent the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of our commitment to bring more compassion and justice to the world. It is at this point that we usually recite familiar words as the chalice is lit. Today, in the spirit of pluralism, we bring to this gathering the words and wisdom of Reverend Julianne Lepp. We seek our place in the world and the answers to our heart's deep questions. As we seek, may our hearts be open to unexpected answers. May the light of our chalice remind us that this is a community of warmth, of wisdom, and welcoming of multiple truths. Each week, as we light the chalice to symbolize the gathered community, we also acknowledge that our church is built on holy ground, land that was nurtured and cultivated before us by first peoples who occupied it. We offer this libation as our giveaway, a symbol of our respect for and deep connection with the land.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Reverend Michelle Buhite, the minister of this congregation. My pronouns, which I offer to create a truly inclusive and brave space for all to live into the fullness of their identities, are she and her. So it looks like I'm not paying attention. My tablet, which I normally use, is safely locked in my office upstairs, and so I'm following the service so I know when to click on my phone, so I promise, but it's on airplane mode, so even I can follow instructions. And now I invite you to take a breath, to settle into your seat, to truly arrive. Sometimes we think that if we've pulled into the parking lot and made it inside the building that we've arrived, but it takes a little bit more than that. Lower your shoulders and breathe. As I share an invocation, you may want to close your eyes or soften your gaze. You're always welcome to look out the windows and see the wildlife unfolding before you. This is a prayer for Mother's Day by Reverend Johnaloo Johnstone. On this day of honoring mothers, we must acknowledge the complexity of the relations in our lives, especially family relations, those most powerful influences. In witness of that power and whatever feelings are awakened in us, let us bring our hearts and minds into focus on the holy and the good. Let us be together in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Gracious God, the God of our understanding, may the spirit of love bless all our families, each of us. Thank you for the mothers who have nurtured our lives and our souls. Thank you for all those who have helped us grow into who we are, whatever their role, grandmother or stepmother or foster parent, or even father or uncle or teacher. We recognize and treasure the nurturers in our own lives, past and present, whoever they may be. Comfort those whose parent or child has died. Loss may feel acute again today as others celebrate. May grief be muted by the memory of love and the consolation of others. May those with difficult relationships with their mothers or with other parents or with their children find ways to appreciate what has been good and to grow from what has not. May goodness be born from any struggles that exist. We commit ourselves anew to the continuity of the generations, whether we raise children or have raised them ourselves, or whether we seek other ways to shape the future. May we honor our struggle to offer to all those coming after us the love, the justice, the wisdom, and the guidance that we may be able to give. May the blessings we have been given by previous generations be transmitted again to new generations. Amen. Now, if you were here last week, you might be thinking, Reverend Michelle, you forgot to change the slide for the first song. No, I did not. We did such a great job with it that I just wanted an encore performance from us all. So the tune can be found in the Gray Hymnal. It's number 188. We're going to sing it twice together, and then we're going to break into a round. And it will be at least as wonderful as it was last week. And Linda Delory, may I ask you to help lead this group? Choir can sing it. That's right. Choir's going to be fierce. Okay. So, Gregory, if you play it through once. Okay, all together twice. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Still together. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover you all.
We lift up our hearts in thanks for the sun and the dawn, which we did not create,
For the moon and the evening, which we did not make,
for food which we plant but cannot grow,
for friends and loved ones we have not earned and cannot buy,
for this gathered community which welcomes us as we are from wherever we have come,
for all our free churches that keep us human and encourage us in our quest for beauty, truth, and love,
for all things which come to us as gifts from sources beyond ourselves.
gifts of life and love and friendship. We lift up our hearts in thanks this day.
We are a beloved community, a gathering of people who have chosen to journey together, to encourage one another, and to be part of something important and life-changing. Because we aspire to be such a people, we make bold promises about how we will be with one another. Whether today is your first time or you've made UU Amherst your longtime home, you are invited to share in our sacred promise. Together we promise to gather in compassionate community, to celebrate diversity of thought and unity of spirit, and to seek wholeness for ourselves, our children, and our world.
Each week we bring our whole selves into this community of love and friendship. And since we bring our whole selves, sometimes we may not bring our very best selves. We may have had a distressing weekend or phone call, or that there's something really heavy. There's room for that here. You don't have to put on a smiley face and pretend that everything is okay. Sometimes we come with joy that we can barely contain. That's okay too. Your joy can be infectious. So whatever the complicated pieces of your life look like today, I invite you to arrive even more fully than we did a little bit ago. To place yourself in the trust of this beloved community, and to come forward and place a stone or a shell on the table labyrinth in honor of all you are and all you bring. Come forward as you will. join our hearts together and we bless one another. We bless everything that is represented here. And we send out that love and our hopes for peace in the world, that somehow people will step up, step into, move into spaces that might feel scary. I'm thinking of, I don't know, all the world leaders. Maybe they could all just move into this warm space that we've created and do what they are able to do to help create peace on earth. That is my prayer today. So I'm going to invite the choir to move into position. Our song and meditation this morning is one of my favorites, written by Issei Barnwell. If you've heard of the women's a cappella group Sweet Honey in the Rock,
Yes.
That's Issei Barnwell and her friends. I won't go on about how amazing. Just do some YouTubing. You know how to do the thing. Listen to their music. But today we are considering not only Mother's Day, but also how we fit into the line, the circle, the spiral of ancestors. So we're going to do something a little unusual. This is going to be a full participation sport for everybody. So the choir is going to begin the song, and then all y'all are going to join. And then in a strategic place toward the end of the song, you will be watching me so carefully, and you will close your portion, and they will have the final say. And if you accidentally sing with the choir, really, then you've just become part of the choir, and that's a magnificent thing. So there is no way to do this wrong, okay? All right, Gregory.
For each other, for the morning star rises.
Was that fun to like share a choir song and say yes, nod? Thank you. I'm feeling very insecure this morning. Feeling very insecure. I'm going to confess to you that math was not my subject in school. I may have worn out my 10th grade geometry teacher. I mean, really, I was there before school every day, during every study hall, after school. I don't think that way, apparently. Poor man, he tried so hard. He let me sleep through the regent's final exam. I was at my desk, he was the proctor, and he just knew. There's no point waking her up. I did manage to get 42 out of full guesswork. Go me. So when I do generational math, it is not lightly. In order to be born, my phone just did its woo. You needed 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-grandparents, 16 second great-grandparents, 32 third great-grandparents. Have you figured out the pattern? Okay. So if you had 32 great-grandparents, how many third great-grandparents, how many fourth great-grandparents did you need? 64 fourth great-grandparents. Good. Next number is 128 fifth great-grandparents. We're going to keep going, so I hope you're counting on your fingers. How many sixth great-grandparents? 256. Okay, and I'm going to let you off the hook, but you feel free to chime in with your math skills. 512 seventh great-grandparents. 1,024. Who's using their phone calculator? I would be. 1,024 eighth grandparents. How many ninth? 2,048. We have some math skills here. I'm not going to do that anymore. So that's 12 generations. You needed a total of 4,094 ancestors over the last 400 years to be born. That's a lot of responsibility. So think for a moment about how many struggles, how many battles, how much sadness, happiness, love stories, and hope for the future that your 4,094 ancestors over the last 400 years had to undergo for you to exist in this moment. You are the dream of many ancestors. So I'm really lucky. I got to visit the city in Scotland where my 12th great-grand ancestor lived and served as chamberlain of an abbey and the royal palace at Dunfermline. Although that ancestor's father lived just to the age of 28, just long enough to get married and sire a son, my 12th great-grand ancestor, the one who worked in the abbey, lived to be the age of 100. Wow. In the late 1400s, I assume people just, didn't live that long. And perhaps he was an anomaly, I don't know. So 3 generations later, my 9th great-grandmother was accused of being a witch and hanged at Gallows Hill in Hartford, Connecticut. So understand that this was before there was anything known as separation of church and state, and so they were combined. And I suspect that the community simply wanted her out of the way so they could take over the successful shoe factory that she and her late husband had built. But I won't lie. I really like having a witch in my family tree. You never know what interesting things you'll discover about the people who came before you. We are who we are because of those who came before us, even if that because is actually an in spite of. Because you might be thinking, oh, no, I am not that because that, Sometimes it's in spite of, but even that's a because. So here's the secret. 9 out of 10 people in UU congregations are come-inners. That means that we've come in from other traditions or from no tradition at all. So let's see how that plays out here. How many here were raised as UUs? Raise your hands. Yep, plays out here. Well, plays out here even more dramatically. You can put your hands down. There are 2 here. I know that we have at least 1 more in Bruce. He was raised UU. So we create a faith family by finding places with people who would accept and love us as we are. Every person in this room craves affirmation and acceptance, no matter our age or our station in life. We never outgrow our need to belong. I am worthy of love and belonging, even if I don't always believe it. So this being still, we're in full participation sport here. So say those words. I am worthy of love and belonging.
I am worthy of love and belonging.
Now turn to someone near you and say those words. Not that they are, but that you still are.
I am worthy of love and belonging.
So I want you to claim that as your truth. You know, it's a little uncomfortable. It's like, oh, I don't know if I can say that. That makes me feel selfish. It is not selfish to believe that you are worthy of love and belonging. Claim it as your truth. Carry it around in your heart. Maybe pencil it in at the bottom of your order of service so you don't forget. We forget. All right. We're going to sing our children to their programming. Every day when you leave your house that you have a little mini choir in your imagination that sings that to you. Go in love, our hearts go with you. You have a whole bunch of ancestors that are, waving hello. So you can embrace that. Maybe I'll keep with my phone because it's the glasses game. Each one of us is worthy of love and belonging. And this seems like an appropriate affirmation on Mother's Day. No matter how complicated the relationship was or wasn't, we all had a mother. No matter if that mother was present or absent, birth mother, foster mother, adoptive mother, stepmother, or some other relationship, no matter how long or how brief, the common thread among us is that each of us has or had a mother. And we have this deep and abiding need to belong. We need to belong in families, to be understood and appreciated, and we need to belong in other groups and systems as well. If you are connecting today, I would venture to say that you are seeking a place to belong. And you'll notice that I said connecting, not just here, although that helps. And by here, I mean kind of everywhere the digital world can take this time. We have people on the live stream now. We have people who will view the service later. Now is a very fluid place point. Belonging is deeper and fuller than simply attending or sampling what a congregation may have to offer. Belonging is deeper and wider and harder. I remember a Sunday school song from my years of attending my grandparents' church. If you know it, feel free to sing along. Deep and wide, there's a fountain flowing deep and wide. Deep and wide, there's a fountain flowing deep and wide. Now the song was about the fountain of Jesus' blood, which is a theological road I am not traveling today. But I have discovered another fountain, deep and wide, of connection, of relationship, filled with an abiding love and the sorrow of loss. A fountain deep and wide, overflowing its banks with tears and sighs, and our sometimes feeble attempts to build walls to keep those waters at bay. I'm going to ask some rhetorical questions. Do not feel obligated to answer them. In fact, answer them in your mind and in your heart, not aloud. Do you belong? Do you have people who love you and want the best for you? Do you have friends, family who nurture you, even if it means staying with them while you are vulnerable, perhaps in sickness, other opportunities for vulnerability? Do you feel supported? Or do you feel alone? Sometimes we might feel like we are an imposition in someone else's life. And that can inhibit our feeling of belonging. Do you belong is the question at the heart of our gathered community. Do you know that you are cherished here? And if you don't know it yet, can you just try really hard to believe it because it's true? You are loved and cherished here. And then, how do we reciprocate? Reciprocity is one of my most favorite words. So if you are feeling the love, if you are feeling the belonging, how is that involving others who make their way here? Whether you've been here for 40 years or 4 weeks or 4 minutes, it's always about belonging. One of my favorite authors on the topic of belonging is Brené Brown. I know I haven't talked about her in, a day or two. So she's made an observation that really rings true for me. And so listen and see if it resonates for you. One of the greatest barriers to connection is the cultural importance that we place on going it alone. Somehow we've come to equate success with not needing anyone. Many of us are willing to extend a helping hand, but we are very reluctant to reach out for help when we need it ourselves. I hope you can see my sacred mirror right now, because I'm looking into it. It's as if we have divided the world into those who offer help and those who need it. And the truth is that we are both. As Unitarian Universalists, it is in our very DNA to lift up rugged individualism. And as a faith movement, I'm not sure that's really doing us any favors. It's true that here we trust you to arrive at your own beliefs and you don't have to do it alone. Brene Brown also asserts that our need to belong is as essential as our need for survival, for food, for shelter. According to the founder of Reconstructionist Judaism, Mordecai Kaplan, there are 3 possible ways of identifying with a religious community: by behaving, by believing, or by belonging. I wonder if that can be said of us. Do we have those 3 B's? Belonging, belief, and behavior? And do we have them in equal measure? So let's think about that. Because I am beginning to think that it doesn't work as well if we are missing something, or if there's not some proportionality among those attributes. So we've spoken a little bit about belonging. I'm going to say a little bit. I realize that it is a theme that I come back to again and again, but a little bit so far today. And even if you don't agree that our need to belong is equal to our survival needs of food and shelter, I hope you can see that it's just pretty important. I think it's safe to say that we are not as emotionally and mentally healthy as we could be if we are cut off from others. And those aspects of self can contribute directly to our physical well-being or the lack thereof. So let's consider belief. Seems appropriate, considering where we are. One of the cornerstones of Unitarian Universalism is pluralism, room for many beliefs. We don't always live that as well as we would like to think. So when we find ourselves asserting, we do not believe, fill in the blank, maybe we personally don't believe. If something is not rooted in love, if love is not the center of a belief, and if it does not create opportunities for doing good in the world, I'd put that in the not belief pile. But I can't say what you as an individual should believe. I hope we can come together with what we value, but your beliefs, that's deeply personal, based on your experience. And you may be arguing with me right now in your head, we don't believe in heaven or hell. Well, it may be true that some of us have rejected those constructs of an afterlife based on reward and punishment, but it is probably equally true that many of us do believe that we create the conditions of heaven and hell right here in our lifetime, and that many of us do foster the hope of something beyond this life. That's allowed. We affirm an openness of belief. And sometimes that includes rejecting creedal approaches to religion. So I'd like you to share a reading with me by the great religious educator from the 20th century, Sophia Lyon-Fahs. And she wrote this beautiful poem, It Matters What We Believe. It's found in the gray hymnal, but I've got the words up front. I will read as one, and then we'll all read as all. Some beliefs are like walled gardens. They encourage exclusiveness and the feelings of being especially privileged. Other beliefs are expansive and lead the way into wider and deeper sympathies. Some beliefs are like shadows, clouding children's days with fears of unknown calamities. Other beliefs are like sunshine, blessing children with the warmth of happiness. Some beliefs are divisive, separating the saved from the unsaved, friends from enemies. Other beliefs are bonds in a world community where sincere differences beautify the pattern. Some beliefs are like blinders, shutting off the power to choose one's own direction. Other beliefs are like gateways, opening wide vistas for exploration. Some beliefs weaken a person's selfhood. They blight the growth of resourcefulness. Other beliefs are self-confidence and enrich the feeling of personal worth. Some beliefs are rigid, like the body of death, impotent in a changing world. Other beliefs are pliable, like the young sapling, ever growing with the upward thrust of life. That's actually our whole philosophy about faith development, religious education, just all of it encapsulated in one gorgeous poem. And please note that Unitarian Universalism strives to be the other beliefs, just in case you're worried right now. Our tendency toward highly individualistic beliefs can create isolationism, even when we are gathered together. How sad to contemplate a room full of people that can feel completely alone and disconnected. The good news is that common beliefs and values are just one way to affirm a sense of belonging. Another pathway to belonging is behavior. You thought I forgot the B's. So, behavior, what do we do? Unitarians in the late 19th century were embroiled in competing ideologies of what it meant to be a Unitarian. New England and East Coast Unitarians in big churches led by highly educated, mostly male ministers, felt that one had to worship God and acknowledge Jesus as their spiritual leader. Remember, I'm going back to the 19th century. If you're starting to feel tall in your seat, there's some time has elapsed, right? And yet, the churches, the congregations along the frontier, which at the time was Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, in smaller, homey churches, predominantly led by women ministers, not saying they're functionally better, just pointing out a thing. What really mattered was how we treated one another. It's funny for me to put it. I've just said it's the 19th century, and now I'm saying we. I was there, right after seminary. But how Unitarians at the time treated one another and cared for others. So from my description of the two groups, you may perceive that there was more than a simple clash of ideology at work here. There were things like classism and elitism. The people on the frontier had fewer opportunities to become highly educated in traditional education venues than those living in New England. The frontier was called the frontier for a reason. Eventually, the ethical, deeds-driven basis for religion kind of caught on. Deeds-driven being doing for others, making space for others. And it really found footing in the 20th century, particularly as humanism became a part of the pluralism that we engage with. So you're probably familiar with the 3 R's of education. Go ahead and say them with me. Reading. Writing, I know, only one of them actually has an R, but it's a phonetic thing. Y'all had to say arithmetic, and that just gave my heart a little happiness. Those were understood to be the basics of at least elementary education. And the expectation was that we would become proficient in all of them. And we might have a natural affinity for one in particular in which we might excel. Arithmetic was not mine. The 3 B's of religious community are just as basic, and we need to become proficient in belonging, belief, and behavior, with the expectation that we will have a natural affinity for one in particular, in which we might excel. For those overachievers, feel free to go for excellence in all of them. There is no losing in that direction. We need all 3 of these fundamental elements to live into our potential as a faith community. Each week, as we offer our covenant, we use the words that we aspire to be a beloved community as part of the invitation to actually speaking our covenant. We aspire to be people a people of faith. Sorry, I just gave away the punchline there. Okay, so there's a difference between being a people and being people. And it's not just Michelle the grammarian right now. To be a people is to be a group of people that have a shared value. To be people is to be individual people, right? Does that make sense? So we aspire to be a people of faith, which we live into through pluralism. And perhaps individually, we aspire to be people of faith. There is room for all of that in the same mixture. We also aspire to be people with awesome peripheral vision, who notice what is going on around us and continually ask ourselves, how can we be more inclusive, more welcoming, more authentically engaged with seekers of all ages and stages of life? We aspire to say to the next wave of seekers, we've been getting ready for you. Welcome home. You belong. Welcome home. 2 words with a powerful, powerful promise. You belong. Our song in response is found in the gray hymnal, We Laugh, We Cry. It's number 354. The words will be up front. And I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we sing. And if that means that you need to adjust where you are to still be able to see the screen, that is allowed. You can remove your seatbelt and move about the cabin, okay?
We need to feel the freedom.
I know, you're following the program because there was a surprise element added to the program. Okay. When we resumed in-person gatherings, we made the decision to invite folks to contribute financial gifts without actually passing the baskets. For the past couple of years, an usher would stand at the back of the chapel with a basket to receive contributions, and that worked well as a transition as we became comfortable with being with people after the long COVID shutdown. Times have changed. We have changed. We have resumed coffee hour. Remember when there was no coffee hour? Wearing masks is optional. We sing together. There was a time when we couldn't sing together. We are ready to try resuming an in-person collection as we live into our values of generosity. Because this congregation exists because of you, the acts of service you engage in, and your generous contributions. We do not, like some religious traditions, we do not receive funds from the National Association. So every aspect of congregational life, including staffing, is made possible because of the generosity of members and friends. That would be y'all. And so today we're going to experiment with resuming passing the basket to receive your offerings of love and gratitude. And I recognize that many of you pay your pledge of support in other ways, in checks, in the mail, automatic deductions from your bank account, online. Text your gift to 833-987-1968. We have many ways to offer that support, and I thank you for your faithful stewardship. And having an offering time during the worship service provides another opportunity. It's just another piece of that puzzle. There's another way that you can participate as a UU action figure. I know, you were hoping that was going to be coming. Each Sunday, we have one usher who welcomes you as you come into the chapel and assists with hearing devices, providing directions to other parts of the building. One usher each week. This week, it's Dennis. Thank you, Dennis. But we have actually multiple baskets. Now, we did some math things a little bit ago. So if we have 4 baskets and we have one usher, oh no, I've even forgotten his name. He's long since forgotten my name too, my math teacher. No, it's emblazoned in his heart. But 4 baskets and one usher leaves how many needed? 3. I love y'all. We need 3 action figures. Who would like to be an action figure this day? Ooh, Bob's an action figure. He's first among action figures. Love it. Charlie's coming. Marge is coming. And Dennis is coming. Fabulous. So Marge and Dennis will be... No, hey, Marge. We did not rehearse this. It's an equal surprise for everybody. So the folks, Bob and Charlie, you're going to have to be ambidextrous because as baskets might get passed all the way to the end of an aisle, up the middle, you'll need to retrieve it and pass it. But some of us are kind of squished in the middle, so you may not have to be ambidextrous all the way. Okay, are we ready to try this? Sure. Okay, so music will play. This is your opportunity. Thank you for your generous giving. And now we will extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now, a few brief announcements.
As our service draws to an end, our service to the world is ready to begin. Let me tell you about some of the opportunities to connect and serve in the days to come. Please join us for coffee and conversation immediately following the service. We meet in the Emerson room, just through the double doors at the back of the chapel. If you need a place for quiet conversation, you can bring your coffee to the atrium, the green and growing space at the back of the chapel. Mark your calendars. There will be a potluck and circle conversation regarding the proposed changes to Article 2 of the UUA bylaws, that's the principles and sources, on Wednesday, May 22nd, starting at 5:30 p.m. You can sign up on the clipboard near the snacks at coffee hour. As always, see the church newsletter, the forward, for information regarding upcoming services and events. And now, please rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing blessing. Remain standing afterward for the benediction, and remember that the third round, we twinkle our eyes at each other.
As we leave this place, let's be the welcome we crave. Open hearts, arms outstretched. Let's embody radical welcome, unquestioning love. Let's be the welcome we crave. Deeply hearing voices and hearts. Let's be the welcome we crave. Enriching, understanding. Let us embody the community we crave. Take that into the world as you go in peace.